What does that mean?
Hey, Marcia,
Hi, who's there?
it's Sarah Jane.
Hi, Sarah Jane. Wait, let me hit the got it. Let me see if I can pull up the gallery. Here you are. Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are your kids doing, your family with the COVID?
Tomorrow, Nicole has a test, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's negative. If it's still positive for COVID, I'm still confined to the house.
Oh, you're having the test or she's having the test?
She's having it. I had a test already and mine was negative.
Was she in the hospital?
She was in the hospital for 10 days.
Wow.
Was in for 7. They both went into pneumonia. So she's been at home, but it's really, it's
Well, maybe next time somebody says get vaccinated, they will.
yes, I hope so. I hope so. Hi, Reba.
Hi,
Hello.
Rita. Hi,
Hi,
Yolanda.
everybody. Hey, Marcia.
How you doing? I had a terrible day today, Yolanda, with the allergies.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been bad, yeah.
I went online to check it out, and I've really been miserable with it. And it keeps telling me the pollen count isn't high, and I'm dying here.
Yeah.
Hi, Joan. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Marcia, it really depends on how high it is, but which kinds of pollen it is. And which
Every
kinds you're
kind,
allergic to.
ragweed, grass, and trees were all down low. I went into the whole thing, went to all kinds of websites, and they're all telling me, "Oh, it's nothing out here," and I'm thinking, "What?" And I took Sudafed yesterday and today, and I really shouldn't because it raises your blood pressure. But I took my blood pressure and it was okay. But it's the only thing that touches it. Right now, I'm more than 4 hours out, so I'm miserable again. So
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'll be muted later. You won't hear me blowing my nose anymore.
Yeah.
Have you been staying in or going out, Marcia?
I'm pretty much in. I haven't gone out very much. I went to
the air,
Florence
because
for
the air
about-
quality out there doesn't help
Yeah.
either.
the
terrible.
inside, and this is in my house. Or at least I can sleep at night. That's one good
And
thing.
that's important.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
how have you been doing, Joan?
I'm doing okay,
Okay.
hanging in here. Good days and bad days.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard when your husband first dies. I know that.
Yeah.
When did he die? It's been a while.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
When did your husband die?
September 30th.
Oh,
yeah.
you have a yahrzeit coming up.
Well, I'm going back east because on September 18th, Barnett's middle daughter is getting married. And guess when his yahrzeit is?
Oh, my.
The 18th
Oh, you mean on the Jewish calendar?
on the Jewish calendar. And then, but the next day we're having the unveiling. So, well, I'm back there. Yeah.
I know that I remember the first year, and I hadn't even joined Temple Beth Shalom, and I came to services for Rosh Hashanah, and I was there the second day of Rosh Hashanah. I was sitting there and crying because of the prayers they were reading.
Uh-huh.
And I looked around, and there were all these other people sitting there crying, so I knew it wasn't just me, And
Oh, yeah.
they used to have second day Rosh Hashanah free. So people who didn't belong to the congregation, I hadn't joined yet, could come to services. Remember, Yolanda?
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I went because I wasn't sure if I was joining or not. I did join the following year or so, but that first year was terrible.
Yeah,
it's rough.
it gets me at certain times, something that I know he would have liked, or laughed at, or we could have laughed together. And that's
song comes on the radio, or you pass something, and it brings a memory into your head.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. You're sitting here with 1, 2, 3, 4 other widows.
Yeah.
Now, today is my husband.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, and Reba and
Sarah Jane.
Well, 2020 was terrible because in July, Sheila died, Sheila Cohen.
Oh,
And in
yeah.
August, my brother died.
Oh, you
and
had a
in
bad
September,
year.
Barnett. So, yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
Ah,
You know,
As 2020 was a terrible year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
oh,
Come on over here.
Hi, Minya.
Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm here too.
Hi there, you're there. So usually you're the other way around. I see. Flipped
Yeah,
up.
he's right there.
Yeah, good.
Reva, your name tonight is Temple Beth Shalom.
What?
Your name tonight is Temple Beth Shalom.
Oh my
Who's
goodness,
that?
I don't know how I did that. Okay, let me change my name.
Yeah, you are Temple.
You just don't want us to know it's you, that's all.
Oh, it must have changed when I had a meeting the other day.
Incognito.
Okay, I'm getting renamed right now.
Okay.
I have,
You know, I renamed myself trying to spell it right or capitals or whatever, and then it went back to the original thing. I've given up. Yeah.
Thanks for catching that. I chaired a meeting last week and a few days ago, and apparently it changed my name.
because you were sharing it, yeah.
Right.
Because you were the host, that's why.
Yeah, it changed my name.
Yep.
I didn't even catch it. Hi, Nan.
There you are. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Doing
Oh, is your what?
beer paw.
Your paw. Oh, well, Footy, were you feeling uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow night, there's the service that's at 7 o'clock too.
Yes.
Right,
You should
yeah.
wear
I'll be
ice-
at the temple for that.
Yeah, I'm still leery, so I'll be zooming it.
I'm
will too. Me too.
I'm zooming it because I won't have the results for my daughter testing tomorrow yet. But I've got to go to the cemetery tomorrow. Today is my husband's yard site, but tomorrow's the year anniversary, so go there and make sure the stone is done right.
I'm looking for my Verizon app here. My bill came today, and for some reason it's $5 more, which I don't understand why.
Did you watch him? Oh,
They told me it was for something surcharges or an extra $461 this month, which is why we don't know that. It says go look at your bill. Here's the bill. There's the rabbi. Okay.
getting ready now. Oh, they have the white. They changed it to the white for the high holidays. Good.
Yes, usually. Yeah. They changed the clause. They did that. Oh, for Salithus. Okay.
They did it for tonight because it's the
Yeah,
start.
because of the holiday tomorrow. Okay.
Yes. Got to finish up the queues.
do you know what kind of turnout they've been getting in person for services?
I haven't been privy to that because I haven't been at the temple. I know,
Last week, there were about 20. There were about 20,
I'm
25.
It's been in the 20s.
I've got my ticket. It came in the mail today
Me too.
for all services, that this is my ticket that I can come to be admitted to all the services. So I'm hoping that I will be there on the services for high holidays.
Hi, Ann.
Hi there.
Hey, Nan. It's Sarah Jane.
Quiet group tonight.
Yep.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ann Burris. Just talked to you.
Oh, here's Lorraine and Bert coming in now.
Here they are. Yeah. God, they Jeez, and I'm looking at the surcharges on the phone bill. It's so stupid. Something must have gone up from last month.
Mm.
Oh, the mobile protection part.
I just assume they're imaginary.
Bills.
Well, the
Oh,
surcharges, those things.
Well, it looks like there's a one went up and one went down. Okay. Verizon Mobile Protect total. What was it down to? Lots of change. Doesn't matter, just have to pay it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was down at Fry's this afternoon I had to go down to UPS. So I popped into Fry's next door near me and a lot of people, I'm thinking, not a lot of masks on. I don't
I
understand.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I go out even right to the store for one option. My mask is on.
Yeah.
I'm at least 10 feet away from any person. In Arizona, I was listening to the news. They said one of the COVID is
We're one of the worst states. Yeah.
Another episode of The Closer starts now on Start TV.
Too sure I'm gonna give you a hand with all that? No, thanks.
There's music coming, I think, from Stephen D.O.O.
That Dornbush?
I don't know, but I can hear the noise, hear the radio or whatever, and hear the sound.
Wait.
Let me mute myself.
Hello, Lorraine and Bert.
Lorraine, you're gonna have to mute because we can hear you talking to each other.
Well, good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Ray.
That's all? Oh, 19 people, so there's a lot more. Do a calorie. Yes, night off sister. Nan. Okay. Minion Larry.
Down that.
I'm ready. Who just got here?
Johnny Nappin, I haven't seen her.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, how are
Lorraine, we
you?
hear you talking to each other.
That means we're in love.
Well, that's good.
I'm very fresh to her. Right? That was a good answer, huh?
I can hear you, Hunter.
I don't know. Okay, so mute us. You know how to do that? That's right.
Ah,
Fine, and
yes.
Sure.
Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody tonight? Nice and cool in here, right? Good. Glad to have you all. Come on in. Nice and cool. My name is Denny Cutler. I'm one of the vice presidents here of Temple Beth Shalom. I want to thank all the members for coming and some of our new visitors that are here. Joel, thank you for coming. Margaret Flores and Brando also, thank you. Appreciate everybody for coming tonight. Just one quick announcement. We're going to try something new as a fundraiser in December. We're going to have the Temple Beth Shalom's first annual golf outing. And this is going to be held at Willow Creek Golf Club in Sun City. A couple things that are different about this. One, we're all going to have to pay. It's $125 per person and includes a cart and range balls. But guess what the grand prize is? If somebody makes a hole-in-one, you're going to get a brand new Buick Encore. How's that sound? For a hole, at least 175-yard hole-in-one, you will receive a brand new Buick Encore. That's worth quite a bit of money. Yeah, it has to be, like I said, 175 yards or more. This, the money we raise is going to benefit our youth programs, and it should be a real fun day. And we welcome everybody who's members, guests, and all kinds of outside people, all our friends, to join us. So I'll say a few announcements at the end, but I'm going to leave it to Rabbi Kaplan and Baruch to take over. Baruch.
Thank you, Denny, and Shabbat Shalom to you. Denny, do you know a good golf coach? I think that Buick sounds very nice, and we're looking forward to it. Tomorrow night is Slichot, and that's at 7 p.m. right here, and we'll be inaugurating the High Holy Days. Prayers of repentance and forgiveness, and we're going to be doing it in candlelight, correct? More or less.
Part of it. It's one of my favorite services. The music's very introspective. It sort of gets us really in the mood to be ready for all of these things, wonderful things that are coming on a grander scale. It's very special.
And then Sunday, you have the second of your courses.
Second class of congregational singing for the High Holy Days, so that everybody will have some idea of what to do, and it'll make it more fun. And I have sheets with the lyrics and the music on it for people to follow here in the temple. It is going to be on Zoom, but we won't have the lyrics available, but some people have the book from last year. We can announce the page numbers.
And I'll be there this week.
Good.
Last week I had a conflict. And so with no more announcements, we'll get right into welcoming Shabbat with the Shalom Aleichem. Please rise on page 142 for the Shalom Aleichem to welcome Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashari, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim,
HaKadosh
Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to now ask, I'm taking a little bit of a risk here because, of course, in Reform Judaism, we treat men and women equally, but I'm going to ask all the women who would like to come forward to bless the candles, and all the men can be seated. And that candle blessing can be found on page 120, and there's a microphone right in front of the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlak ner shel Shabbat. Blessed Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvah and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher
kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shabbat.
We continue with the Kabbalat Shabbat service and Lecha Dodi, page 138. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dekatala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah. Lecha Dodi.
Shabbat nekabala la la leka leka dodi likrat lekala bane bane Shabbat nekabala leka leka dodi likrat lekala bane bane Shabbat nekabala Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Yishmianu el hamichad Adonai echad Tushkamo echad T'shem u'tiferet biliti la 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 Dodi likrat lekala bane Shabbat nekabala leka leka dodi likrat lekala bane bane Shabbat nekabala Shalom aseret bala Gam b'simcha u'b'tola Toch lamunei am segula Boichala, boichala, Dodi, likrak lekala, bane bane Shabbat nekabala, leka dodi, likrak lekala, bane bane Shabbat nekabala, la la, leka dodi, likrak lekala, bane bane Shabbat nekabala, leka dodi, likrak lekala, bane bane Shabbat nekabala.
Wow. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
We just decided before services what we're going to wear tomorrow night for Sukkot.
Yeah.
And so we decided we're not going to start with the robes until Rosh Hashanah, Erev Rosh Hashanah.
Right.
Okay, I think we can do with that. Now, this week, there's just so many things going on, and most of them bad, but I'm not going to talk about Afghanistan, which I'm sure you've all seen about. but I rather about a scandal that is just broken out about 4 days ago with an Israeli-American professor of psychology at Duke University, North Carolina. And his name is Dan Ariely. You may have seen his books and his Gesundheit. And his YouTube is very popular on YouTube. And about 4 days ago, so he made his reputation writing a book on honesty. And so honesty is a character trait. And so we've been talking a little bit about Jewish character traits and virtues. In positive psychology, there's 6 virtues, and under each virtue, there's different character traits, and under them, there's some sub-traits, and honesty fits in there with integrity and with other character traits like that. And we know it's important. And Ariely wrote the book about honesty, The Honest Truth About Dishonesty was one of his titles. And he has his own very interesting story. He's born in New York. His family moved to Israel when he was just like a couple years old. So he grew up in Israel. And like other Israelis, he went at age 18 into the army. And he wasn't in the army long. And there was like a big flare that they were using. And it exploded right next to him instead of going up. And he was burnt over 70% of his body. And he then spent the next 3 years in Israeli hospitals. And he did a lot of his thinking that later appeared in his books. And his very first problem was, how do you take bandages off? Because as a burn victim, the nurses had to take the bandages off, I don't know, every 3 days, every 7 days, fix the wounds and that hurt. And they believed that it was better to take the bandages off quickly, just rip them off and get it done with, and then that would be better. And Ariely used his social science genius to figure out that actually it would be better for most burn victims to take the bandages off slowly. It would take longer, but it wouldn't hurt as much all at once. And so he was able to convince the Israeli hospitals. And so now when they have burn victims through the army, they use a lot of the ideas that he developed. Now he developed an idea about honesty that was considered groundbreaking at the time. And you know how you do a form that you have to tell the truth. How many people tell the truth on their taxes? Okay, about half. No. And at the end of the form, after you've put in all the numbers, what do? You sign, right? And you probably don't read it because the accountant says, just sign here, but it says, I testify that I'm telling the truth. So Ariely did experiments where he asked half the people to put the form at the top. And it said, before you're filling out this, everything you're going to answer is true. And you sign it at the very top, and the other half signed it at the very bottom. And he found, and this was based on statistics, he got data, according to what he said at the time, from one of the big insurance companies, which apparently was the Hartford. Has anyone heard of that company? And so, and the Hartford agreed to send out 14,000 forms, and on half the forms, it was at the top, and on the other half, it was at the bottom. And then they knew what the original mileage of these cars that people had. And one of the questions that people were asked on their word of honor was, what is your current mileage? So then he and his team calculated that the people that signed at the top lied much less about their current mileage. Now, there was no way to ascertain exactly what that mileage was,
But based on what the mileage had been a year earlier, they could see that the people that signed at the top drove a lot more, or they lied a lot less. And so there's a reasonable assumption that it's the latter. And so this was a breakthrough article. He wrote it with 4 other professors, but he was the one that handled all the data. And they wrote this very pioneering article, and then he made a book out of it, and then another book out of it. And this is about 15 years ago, and he became very, very famous. Now, this week it came out that the data was, what is the word? Fabricated. And that they proved that these 3 anonymous people online proved that it could not be real. And so he hasn't really answered for the accusations, but it's becoming a big, big academic scandal. And people are asking, like myself, if you can't trust the expert on honesty to be honest, then who can you trust? But it really can cause us to think a little bit more about what is honesty, because I was joking when I said not everybody is truthful on their taxes, but we can't always be truthful, right? Like there's, what is the expression, a white lie, right? So, when your spouse says, do I look fat in this dress or in this shirt? There's one answer and one answer only, right? And that is, no, you look very thin, right? And that's it's not being dishonest, it's being diplomatic, right? That's right. Okay. And we all appreciate a little diplomacy here and there. So, and I could give you a lot of other examples, right? And I learned myself that, in life, you can't always be too honest, right? There is such an expression. And if you're too honest, you can get in trouble because of things like that. And we can, give you much more important examples of being, quote unquote, too honest. So it's like with many character traits, it's a very subtle kind of thing. It's not a yes or no or an up or down situation. Honesty is a character trait that has to be learned, and you have to mature with it, and you have to know how to utilize it properly. Too much honesty can cause problems, but of course, not enough honesty can cause even more problems, right? And I get an email from this Russian Jewish mutual fund guy in Colorado, and I have no interest in his mutual fund, but he's such an interesting character. I like getting his letters. And this week he didn't reference Don Ariely, but he talked about this very theme. And he said when he started his mutual fund, he hired a guy to make cold calls to get clients for him. And this guy, because it was cheaper, was in Serbia and had a very Eastern European name. So, and this Russian Jewish guy in Colorado also has an Eastern European name. So he said, too many Eastern European names. So he said, do you mind, instead of your real name, can we call you Steve? So the Serbian guy says, sure, I'll be Steve. So then a few weeks later, he says, I'm doing really well. You know how you made me Steve a few weeks ago? Well, now I live in San Francisco, and I went to University of California at Davis, and he made up a whole, and the Russian guy realized that what he had done just to simplify things and trying out of good intentions, and his employee also out of good intentions, that this had become a massive lie, and that for no purpose, but you don't want to be deceiving people unnecessarily. And so he said, no, we got to stop this. Let's go back to your original name. And if they ask you where you live, tell them the truth. And if they ask you where you went to college, tell them that too. And he learned his lesson that way. So I'm going to follow what happens. If you want to, you can look on YouTube and see his name is Dan Ariely. He's got a very nice TED Talk and all these other things about honesty. But remember that sometimes you have to take what people say with a grain of salt. Shabbat Shalom. We rise now for the evening service, which begins with the Baruch Hu on page 146.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Amavorach Baruch Adonai Amavorach Amavorach Le'olam Va'ed Amavorach Amavorach Le'olam Va'ed.
We continue with the Declaration of Faith, 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malakuto Le'olam Va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please join with me. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated as we continue with the Hafta on page 154. Please join with our cantor.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadabarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al babecha v'shinantam libanecha v'dibarka bam Bishivtecha b'beitecha u'belechtecha b'derech u'b'shavtecha u'b'kumecha u'b'shatam la'ot ayadecha v'hayu l'totofot bein enecha u'ktavtam amuzot betecha u'b'sharecha L'man tizkaru v'asitem eko mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'lechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lechem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue with Thou Shalt Love, composed by Debbie Friedman, which you can find, hopefully, in the pocket in front of your seats.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou risest up, and when thou liest down, and when thou liest stars down, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand. And they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Wow. Page 156, we join together at the bottom of the page. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels without count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You performed miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the lands of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voice joyfully.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam. Mi kamocha barim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, malala osei bella, norat hilo osei bella, malachutcha ravanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, zeli anu va'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la la bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bam. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
Page 159, we join together. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Uthros alenu sukat, sukat, shelomecha.
La 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 la,
ya la la la, ya la 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 la,
ya la la la,
ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch, but you got your foot on the pedal, so you can't do the dance we used to do.
Wet stuff don't make a hole.
Whoops, whoops.
The carpet's holding it up.
We could fall through. Please rise for the tefillah beginning on page 164.
Adonai, sebetai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Aya Hagadol Hagivor Anora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, V'imahot, U'mevigila Livin Ebenehem, L'man Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai mechayeh hakol, atah Rav lehoshia. Mechalchel chaim v'chesed, mechayeh hakol b'ragavim ravim. Namech noflim v'lofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, l'ishenei ava, michamo gaba'al gevurot, umidem elach, melech memit, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'aman atah l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Michayeh hakol.
We continue praying silently, standing, or seated.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
Amen. Please be seated. We continue on page 371 with the Mishaberach.
Before I go around and ask everybody who'd like to say the names of those that they'd like us to pray for, I'd like to pray for Robin Jacobson, who is the daughter of Denny and Bonnie, and who's having some lung problem. And we're praying very, very hard that things may work out with her in Chicago. And David Gluck, our former president, was in the hospital this week with breathing problems, but they seem to feel it's okay. He was pretty happy with the hospital. He called it Boswell Banner Hilton. And so I guess if you can say that about your hospital, then that's always a good sign. Amanda Mikulas Magyari's son, small son, Liam, has COVID. And so the whole family is isolating. And hopefully everybody else in the family is okay. And Liam's doing well. So we're praying for them. Nikki Ramalho, the daughter of Sarah Jane Feldman, who lives with her mother, is recovering, a very long recovery from COVID. And Nikki's husband is also suffering from COVID, but he's getting better quicker. And Jonathan Liebman, a newer member and a wonderful guy. I was just over at his house and his wife's Debbie's yesterday, and he has a degenerative nerve disease, and so he's having a tough time, but he's a very, very, very strong guy, both physically and emotionally, and he's meeting that challenge amazingly well. On a more global level, I wanted to pray first for the people of Haiti who suffered a major natural disaster the last couple of weeks, and thousands of people have died, and many are, tens of thousands are displaced and ill. And then, of course, the people of Afghanistan and the Afghans and US Marines who were injured in that bombing at the airport this week, tragically. So I'll go around and I'll start on this side. And if you'd like to pray for anyone, I won't come too close, so talk loud. Okay, Marcia, thank you.
My friend Secret almost terminal cancer.
Sorry.
Mark Cohen, Susan Thomas, Bonnie Schwartz, and Sandy Sorrell.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And where's that? Sorry. Thank you. Wow. My condolences.
Robin Jacobson. For Michael Longmire, for Barbara Grant, for Shannon Pharisee, and for my friend Bonnie and John. And I pray for everyone who is running for their lives
And for all of those who were injured in the historical attack in Pakistan. And prayers for our future.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Sarah Harkness, her husband Jerry passed 3 days ago. He was my husband's best friend. It was rather sudden and unexpected death.
I'm sorry.
Was Lucas. Richard Sargent.
Oh, boy.
My son Douglas DeGray. John Temple's brother, Howard Hall.
Kent.
Mishabera abotenu Makor Abraham imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor Abraha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. The parsha this week is Ki Tavo. If you can see the scroll, you can see that the left side is getting rather thin. And so this means that we're in which book? Exodus. No. Deuteronomy. Exodus would be sort of in the middle. Deuteronomy's over this side. If it was all the way on the other side, it would be probably there you go. So we're in Deuteronomy and we're coming to the end. Moses has been giving his all of his speeches for the last number of weeks, and that includes the Ki Tavo portion. He says a number of things, but what is very interesting is a ceremony that appears to have been very, very ancient, that maybe going back 3,000 years, that everybody from every little town and city in Israel had this parade, and they took fruit and in baskets, and they marched all the way up to Jerusalem. And when they came to Jerusalem, they were greeted by the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And it's like a Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade. Did you know that parade? I went as a child with my parents for many years, and they never made the comparison with this, but I'm doing that. But and then they would present these baskets of fruit, and they would say, among other things, My father was a wandering Aramean, and he wandered around, and all this stuff happened, and now we're here. And medieval commentaries changed the meaning of this verse entirely, and which is quite interesting in its own right. But I'd like to now call up, since the women did the candles, I'm going to be real traditional tonight. I hope you don't think I'm going orthodox on you. And I'm going to call up all the men who'd like to come up for the Aliyah to the Torah tonight. The women came up a lot quicker, didn't they? It's not a social science experiment. And then you guys have to decide to keep the Hebrew side or flip. You can flip over that plastic thing and there's the transliterations there. Ah, okay. You can also do that. It's right here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Baruch Hu. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Amen. And I hear a little Ashkenazic accent in there, as in Nasein HaTorah. Lee, do you want to hold the right side here? And thank you. Ki tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha natan lecha. When in the future, in the near future, hopefully, you, meaning the children of Israel, will not enter into the land of Israel, meaning that this is still when the Israelites are in the Sinai desert. V'yarashta v'yashavta ba, and you will inherit the land and you will settle it. V'yamarta asima alai melech kol hagayim asher tzivivta sus tasim elecha melech asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo mikrav achicha tasim elecha melech lo tochal lecha elecha ish nachri asher lo achicha hu rak lo yirbel below sus velo yosim et ha'am mitzrayma. And I'll just read the English because I want you to get exactly what it says. And then when you've entered the land, so Moses is talking that presumably after he passes away, you should take some of the first fruit that ripens from every fruit of the ground, which you gather in from your land that God, your God, is giving you. And you should put it in a basket and go to the place that God, your God, will choose to make God's name rest there. And you should come to the Kohen. And how many people here are Kohens or Bat Kohens? Just 2 of us? Okay. Okay. We're in elite status. And who is present? And you should say to the Kohen or Kohenet, if it's you, we'll split the fruit half and half. But if you don't mind, I like blueberries. I don't know if they had blueberries in Israel. I am declaring today to you, God, that I have come to the land which God swore to our ancestors to give us. And then the Kohen or the Kohenet will take the basket from your hands. Lee, blueberries? Okay. And wave it together with you. We would wave the blueberries. And then you would place it in front of the mizbeach, in front of the altar, if you want to use that word. But in Hebrew, it's mizbeach in the Jerusalem temple. So remember, there's going to be a lot of fruit up there. So we can eat a lot of fruit. We'll have to freeze some of it. And then you should hold the basket and say out loud before God, your God, my father was a wandering Aramean, and his sorrows did not stop there because he went down to Egypt and he lived there in a small family group of 70 people, and he had all sorts of problems. But later, he became a great and populous nation there. Because of this, the Egyptians treated us cruelly and afflicted us, and they imposed hard labor on us. And then we cried out to God, God of our fathers and mothers, and God heard our voice and saw our affliction, our toils, and our oppression. And God brought us out from Egypt with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm, with great awe and with signs and wonders. And this ceremony was done apparently in the temple over and over at this time. There was groups coming from every town, must have arrived one after the other. And you can imagine. Today, we remember this. This excerpt from this week's portion is part of which holiday that we celebrate every year? There you go. And if we'd known that, we celebrated Passover together, remember, and we would have been able to split the blueberries then. Okay, gentlemen, are you ready for the blessing after the reading of the Torah? Amen. I won't shake hands, but symbolically. Oh, you bought this? I bought in Chicago. I was telling everybody the last couple of years how beautiful this is. This is one of our yads. So when you read the Torah, you don't have to put your finger there, which might smear the mite. And so we've got this beautiful yad, and this is my favorite one. And I didn't know it was yours. Well, they know it was a present from you. So thank you. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We turn now to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. And we remember the premature passing of Marcia's daughter, Marla Goldstein. And so we mourn with you, Marcia, and with your whole family, with your daughter, and with everybody. We remember the first yard site of Marty Feldman. Many of you may remember Marty. His wife, Sarah Jane, is chair of religious practices, and she's at home. And this is his first yard site. It's around 12 months since he passed away. We also remember the yard sites of Abe Ball, the father of Carol Teplin, John Barot, the father of Gloria Furman, Samuel Becker, the father of Suzanne Gerber, Benjamin Bland, the brother of Bonita Stein, Rose Bland, the mother of Bonita Stein, Walter Edward Davies, the father of Walter Davies, Herbert Ehrlich, the father of Beth Hengeler, Myron Hechler, the father of Steve Hechler, Russell Millman, the brother of Cheryl Millman, Moshe Uzan, the father of Yvette Schuver, Robert Wilderman, the husband of Mary S. Wilderman, Samuel Alpert, the father of Arnold Alpert, Simon Cutler, the father of Dennis Cutler, Martin Feldman, the husband of Sarah Jane Feldman, as I said, Patricia Frazier, the mother of Susan Blum, Fred Friedman, the brother of Shelley Hammerslag, Ada Gluck, the aunt of Judy Feinstein, Joseph Lang, the father of Roberta Harris, David G. Robbins, the father of Russell Robbins, and all of the Afghans and Marines killed in the bombing in Afghanistan. Is there anyone who'd like to add a name of a loved one who's passed away in the last 11 months or whose yard site is around this time of year? May her memory be for a blessing. May their memory also be for a blessing. Okay, please rise as we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish. We join together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah v'yalma dibra krute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon b'yomechon u'b'chaye dekol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'b'zman kariv v'yamru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach li'alam u'lamei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei dekudsha richu leila min kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiram v'alma v'yimru. Amen. Hey shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Oseh shalom ben Ramav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and all humanity, to which we say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated as we now turn to the anthem. This is Chazak, which means strength. By Doug Cutler, which is an English piece. Cantor, all yours.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Always asking questions, we open up our lives, anxious for answers from up above. There's a choice in every story, the story of every heart. We wrestle with the wonder of Torah. Chazak, Chazak, from strength to strength, as we take our path of choice. Chazak, Chazak, we will be strong as we choose the paths of peace. When seeking after wisdom, we find our humility, learning from our sages, new and old. Wings of God rush by us, showing our way anew. We will make decisions we can hold. Chazak, Chazak, from strength to strength, we will choose the path to peace. Chazak, Chazak, we will be strong as we walk the path of peace.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, Benny.
Want to hear more? Real nice singing and learn some songs for the high holidays at 10 a.m. on Sunday at one wonderful Cantor Baruch Corrigan is conducting a class right here. It's no charge. So it's Sunday, 10 a.m. With our Cantor Baruch Corrigan. So for our visitors who would like to attend any of our high holiday day services, you can arrange to attend in person or live streaming. Just call our office Monday. All we ask for is a donation, whatever you can afford. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Denny. How did it go? Doing the announcements and bringing the greetings?
It's the second time I did it, so I still like our idea of singing Frank Sinatra song.
In Hebrew. Okay. We're at the end of the service, and we have the Kiddush and the Hamotzi, and then the benediction, and then finally, where we rise and hold hands for Tfilat HaDerech, the prayer of travel. So here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam,
haolam,
borei peri
hagafen. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushenu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat chodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hitilanu,
Zikaron l'maaseh Bereshit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'charta, v'tanu kidashta, mikol amim, v'shachar kodshaka, b'ava u'b'ratzon, kinkaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. I want to welcome the Katzes back from France. I promised them I was going to do the service in French, so I asked their apologies for not doing it in French. I don't have any excuse because I did 6 years of high school French, but I can't really utter more than one or
6
two.
years of high school.
6 years of high school French, and the total sum of those 6 years is bonjour and coco van. But
Okay.
also there's
And Pierre Cardin, your time.
Oh, yes, this is my friend, Pierre. Yes. There's also some new people here. I won't embarrass them. Some are newer than others, and others are sort of new. But when the service is over, if you're not a newbie, then you can go over to people you think are newbies and interrogate them on their entire lives. Unfortunately, you can't eat cheesecake at the same time, but that's the life. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Please rise for the final benediction.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace, health, happiness, and love. And let us say,
Amen. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good night, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Good night, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.